Hello everybody, it's Vertical Sandwich. Welcome back to Let's Play Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. So, I'm a little stuffed up, but this is a post-commentary collection video. I actually recorded like 7 videos of just collecting things. Although one of those is a failed video. I went into an area that I knew I was a little underclass for, and I game overed. I'll show the battle that game overed me. Just so you can see what a game over looks like. Because we might never end up with one in the actual LP. So there's spring water, I hit all the draw points that were in the area. I completed 2 bounties, I completed 1 errand. So there's 2 carrot cakes here, you can see where Alba Moon is, you can see the mini-map. And this is the main map. And then in the northeast corner up here, there is some shadow glass. Now the stuff like turning in errands and things like that are going to be done without dialogue being read. I can't read them on my previous screen without like maximizing it, but then I lose all my capability to control things in editing, so. Alright, and a glow cap. That's most of the stuff in the desert. Now, we actually make 2 trips up onto this path because my walkthrough was just set up in a weird way. So I was reading through what I needed to do, and I'm like, oh, I need to go find this guy's diary. And then I took it back to him, and then I was like looking later on what I need to do, and I'm like, oh, there's collectibles in the exact same area I found that guy's diary. Really? I could have edited them together, but yeah. So there's a bounty up here. It's Mademoiselle. And her sprite is actually, she's one of the bounties that has a unique sprite. You won't see this sprite in any of the familiars or any random enemy encounters. However, there is another bounty later that uses the same sprite. She's not a very offensive monster. She takes a lot of damage, but she doesn't dish a lot out, so you can kind of go at her with cold spells and stuff, cold and water spells, pretty easily without putting yourself in too much. The level at which you get this bounty is the level at which you can do it. How about that? If you beat the thing on top of the volcano, she's not a problem. And by the way, I am aware that you can clear out the animation at the end of a battle, but the problem with that is it kills the audio and makes the video go blurry, but it doesn't really seem to shorten it very much. Like, it's clearly some sort of loading transition screen that they use. So, going back to Old Father Oak, there is a draw point I don't think I hit over here. And it's just booster shoots, but it is notable. And then I did catch on Ouroboros as a familiar, and I gave him a default name. I just gave him one of the computer suggestions. Some of the computer suggestions are amazing, by the way. I just caught a spike enemy, and the computer suggestion that I went with in one of the videos later in the LP is Tyke Mycin, which was just such a mind-blowingly good suggestion. I had to go with it. So yeah, we went with the second suggestion, which is Boro. And you go through some of them and like wishing wombats, and you like catch one. I catch one later, and the default suggestion is Wambo, which is so good. It's such a good name. So yeah, so the gist of this conversation, and I did try to scroll the dialogue slow enough that I thought I might be able to read it, but it just turns out that on the previous screen it's really hard. In some games with one-line subtitling and bigger text, I can do it. But the bottom line of this is that Old Father Oak listens to your adventure, gives you some feedback, says that you know you should be careful because you know you only have one life, and then he gives you some phoenix feathers, which are the revival. Not is it phoenix feathers? Yeah, it might be. Which is literally Phoenix Down. It literally is Phoenix Down. They just changed the name to not get sued or something. Yeah, Phoenix Feathers. It's literally Phoenix Down. So the standard RPG resurrection thing is the feather of a phoenix will bring you back to life. Because, you know, that's a phoenix's job, is to burn itself and rise from its own ashes or something. I should look that up. I don't know much about the mythology of the phoenix, and considering how much I have to deal with it in the role-playing games I use. Alright, so that's our visit to Father Oak. There will be periodic visits to Father Oak are completely worth it, but unless there's something to do on the trip up or the trip back, I'll spare you the trips if I can. So we claim our bounty. We actually don't buy any new abilities just yet. But the bounties are really worth it for merit stamps. I mean, this is a lot of merit stamps. And I should say, I don't know if I brought this up. I do bring it up in later videos. You should just buy these things. Like, don't save your merit stamps up. You can easily, like, when the second row opens up and they all kind of open up at once, you'll have to make a choice which ones to buy first and which ones to buy last. But essentially the way it works is the last one of each line seems to be like almost a programming placeholder. So what happens is you buy 5, you open that one, you buy that one, you open everything else. And it just so has to do with those two are actually upgrades to things that are plot point things. So, well, I'll tell you, like, I'll give you an example. The 6th one in this set is to make your boat you're gonna get go faster. So you can't clear it out. I mean, you can't even buy it until you get through Castaway Cove. So the game actually has a pretty good setup to keep you from saving up, you know, the price of the highest merit stamp reward in this game is 8. So, like, saving up 8 and then just waiting for everything to unlock and buying that one right away. So one of the things we do right now is I never did equip anything on Esther, so our player characters can wear accessories and things too. And it does make some sort of sense to have things equipped on them, although most of the battling in this game is done with familiars. I mean, that's just the long and short of it. Your AI will always will only default to using the player character if your player character is what you're using. And frankly, it's so much easier to equip and boost your familiars. I mean, if you get a new item and it's really cool, like a new sword, Oliver's never going to be able to use it. He only uses wands. Whereas you could just find a familiar, put it in the pack with the rest of them, and its levels will just skyrocket just through grinding. So yeah, so I mean, on purpose, the familiar combat is what the game it pushes you towards. There's nothing wrong with that. The familiar combat is great, and you know you can hold enough familiars in your actual team to give yourself a lot of options. I mean, 3 options per player character is a lot. You could have 6 different, you know, strengths represented. And that includes, like, you know, the multiple elements, a physical attacker, and, like, 2 status attackers. Just for, like, Esther and your main character. Although there may be an element I'm missing in there. So yeah, I mean, clearly the game is set up for you never to use your player characters as, like, you know, like when you start and you're beating up enemies with a stick. Like, clearly the game's not designed to keep you doing that for very long. And that's great, because, like I said, the familiar stuff is way more powerful. Misleadingly powerful, actually. So over by this lava flow is another burning blade. And burning blades are the strongest fire elemental weapon you're going to get for a long time. So. And then just outside of Old Smoky, over here, is a phoenix feather. Which we should, had I known about, I would have grabbed on the way up Old Smoky. The burning blade, not a big deal. So anyway, these plateaus, south of the desert, you can climb up here. And you can search around, and there's 1 or 2 things up here or something. But the danger is that this will happen to you. I mean, it already fought a couple battles. They killed Esther instantly. They killed her right away. Like, I didn't even think of healing up, and nobody has magic points left. And these enemies do way too much damage for me to be safe for any length of time.
Leave it to me.
So at this point, I'm just trying to get magic points into my healer, and then maybe do some healing, you know, and it's just not... It's not going great. It's just not. And I was so close. I was so close to surviving. I could have healed up. I could have got out of there. So yeah, I was defeated. Now, down by Castaway Cove, there's this area over here. You can cast the bridge spell. And it will, in fact, make a bridge. That's what the bridge spell's for. And there is a bounty down here. There's a couple hidden treasures. And we do pick up a familiar, I believe. Oh, no, yeah, we pick up the familiar, I think, at the other side of the area. So there's a draw point right here. For Slumberknot leaves. That guy walking around, by the way, that's our bounty. He's a series of hog goblins or goglins or something. So, there's 2 salted ice creams. Sounds awful. So, I did have to do a little healing up. Those things happen sometimes. I just wanted, you know, I wanted the ability. Strong coffee and iced coffees are buyable, so, you know, you don't really have to worry about wasting it.
Here we go.
So, yep, here we go.
Here goes.
And you want to get the weaker minions, the hog goblins. We want to get rid of those first. Ideally. Although I've had equal amounts of success just going after, you know, the main one. I really do like the ability Hot Huff for familiars because it will hit everything behind the enemy you're shooting, which is really nice at this stage in the game. So I suggest it. And I like Smash Hit as well, because it clearly, it throws the enemy back, it stuns them for a bit. It will strategically be put to interesting uses later. It's a pain when the enemy's equipped with it, I will say that. So there we go. That is our bounty complete. So there we go. We're not going to turn it in this collection video, because the next place we go is Castaway Cove, and we'll turn it in there. Alright, so over here on the opposite side, the west side, I got surprise attacked, and I catch this Wombat as a familiar. One of the things you have to watch, too, is if you don't cancel your attacks when something gets a heart over it, the next hit will kill it.
Nice work.
You can tell I was looking for my list of things to name my familiars. Alright, we keep the Wombat, and Wambo is the default name for this particular Wombat. And I name it Ruthie. So, there is actually an item on the, so there's a Rings a Bell there. And then below it, there actually is an item. And that will be the last thing we get in this video. So when we come back, back to live commentary, I hope, although I can't seem to find the file for the next one, but it's probably just mislabeled. So I'll see you guys for that. And you take care. Bye, everybody.